You make mistakes. Yeah. And the edge is crushing just like typical glass. But I like having the thickness in the middle. So it's not like most of the glass that I've napped is not really thick. It's like bottle bottoms and stuff. Now that one, I'm not sure why I did that. It must have been a crack that I didn't see. Or a crack that I wasn't aware of. I have my arm resting on my leg. That's why I'll keep brushing off any little remnants of shards. Yeah. Another thing I got to worry about is overshots. I got to make sure I don't overshoot. The glass snaps so easily that overshots are common. Yes. That's good. It is a bit crushy. And you can get glass embedded in the copper, which makes it a little more slippery. It doesn't grip the edge very well, which makes it not nap as easily. I gotta be careful with strikes like that. I do want to thin it down, but I gotta be very careful that I don't overshoot it. You know, I try to go as far across the piece as I can without overshooting it. That's what I mean by being careful. I don't mind it if it goes almost all the way across. Yeah, step fracturing. I think that I did not abrade that enough, lost energy, and it just stopped the flake. It grinds down well, or it abrades well. I gotta start looking at the symmetry from the side. You know, from this way. Make sure I don't scoop out too much from one side. Like right here, looks like it's scooped out a little bit too much. I don't want to install a curve. So I got to make sure the surface is nice and convex every time I make a strike. Make sure I'm not hitting into a flat spot. Hitting into a flat spot increases the step fracture, or the chances for step fracturing. You don't want step fracturing in the glass at all. It makes it look cheap. It makes it look cruddy. It doesn't impair the function of the point. It just makes it look kind of ugly to have step fractures. Especially with glass, when people know that it's not that difficult to nap. they won't cut you any slack. Because there's no excuses. All right. And there is not many excuses for step fracturing glass. Other than inexperience, of course. When you don't have much experience, you can use that as an excuse anytime you want. Yeah. This abrading also helps to define the edge. You can see it a little more clearly. And you can abrade just so you can see the edge. That's a trick you can do also. You can also abrade to move the edge. If I abrade this way, I'm removing actually little flakes. And I'm removing some of this edge and moving it that way without too much loss in width if I use the abrader. But sometimes the abrader doesn't remove enough. But with glass, it's easy to what I call hammerstone it. It will remove flakes. Yeah, so I just moved the edge that way. And these are all crud flakes. There's only a few that I could probably use for making an arrowhead, like something like that, but that's curved. How about something, yeah, something like this that's a little bit flatter. Hold on a second. I gotta sweep off some glass from my other arm. It's itching. All right. We're almost there yet. Yeah, like that. So with a material that I haven't napped before, I'm usually very cautious. I'm trying not to take flakes that are too large. I don't know what too large is exactly, but I'm just kind of playing it safe. So now it's just a matter of thinning it down, continuing to thin it down without cracking the edge, without overshooting, without too many step fractures, all that good stuff. Straightforward, same old, same old. I like that it's thick in the middle. Yeah. Yeah. It gives that extra level of security that it's not going to snap in half when it's thick in the middle. So my napping is opportunistic. Whenever I see an opportunity, that's where I nap. Yeah. If everything else is taken care of, like as long as there's convexity, as long as the ends are thinned down, yeah, just focus on the thinning and making sure the edge is not all crushed. So I do have to sharpen it. If the edge is all crushed, sharpening it is more difficult. Alright, so I need to get rid of that step fracturing. But it's okay, I can get rid of it without too much problem. If it starts to get difficult to run flakes without step fracturing, two things could be happening at this stage. It might be getting too flat. The surface might be getting too flat. Or the edge is too thin, you can't develop strong strikes. Or the tool could become embedded. I guess three things. The tool, something's wrong with the tool. But I don't see any issues. Yeah. It's pretty straightforward. So yeah, I removed the step fracturing with that strike. Come on. I'm hitting it harder than I think I should be, or I think that I'm needing to hit it. Yeah. It's getting lighter, so that's one thing. As it gets lighter and you want to remove the same size of flakes, you have to hit harder than you were hitting before. Yeah. That's normal. It's hard to get used to that though. And you want to do just the opposite. As it gets thinner and more delicate, you want to hit hard. You want to hit less and less harder on the edges, but to do it this way, using the mass of the point against itself, sometimes you got to hit harder than you were hitting before and not let up on the gas, so to speak. Yeah, like that. That was a hard hit. So was that one. But not hard enough. Dang it. Let's see. Yeah, like that. I still have a step fracture in there. It's difficult to see the surface quality when it's clear like this. It's easy to miss where it might have a little scoop out or a dip, and then you'll strike into the scoop out or strike into the dip and it's not going to work. Yeah, the danger is cracking it this way. When you hit it hard, and of course the bite's taken out of the edge. But this one doesn't seem like it's one of those materials that bites easily. Yeah, it seems well behaved. Where I'm not taking off a lot of the edge with these hard strikes. That's well behaved when it does that. Some obsidians are so delicate, as an example, and with glass too. Some glass is so delicate that any hard strikes on an edge this thin and it'll take a big bite out. But in this case, it looks pretty good. I don't want to jinx myself. I'm also being very careful not to hit any harder than I need to. Yeah. Although sometimes it wants me to hit harder. I got to be very careful. Alright, so that's it. I made a biface. Yeah. It's just a matter of refining it with more persnickety flakes. Yeah. I can't take too many bold flakes on it right now because at this stage it's getting a little thin to do a lot of bold flakes. Yeah, I did all the bold flakes I could already. There might be a couple more spots. I'm going to look for a couple spots. See if I can do it. And then I'll call it good. Yeah. After the video, I will. Let's see. How do I explain this? I'm going to cut the video off at the end of the secondary thinning, where I'm going to say to myself, I don't need to thin it any further. I can just sharpen it, and that's it. See that starting to bite. Yeah. So I'm reaching the limit of my skill and the material qualities. That one felt weird. It's hard for me to see if there's convexity. So that's a challenge because there has to be good convexity in order to be as successful as possible with these flakes. You got to be able to see if there is convexity. It's getting to the point where it's difficult for me to see exactly what I can do. And there's a mistake here. Let's see if I can pop that out. I popped out the incomplete flake, but it's still, that's something I got to clear up with the sharpening, but I'm just going to call it good right there. So it'll be a two-part series. I'll divide it into two 20-minute segments. Okay, so where's the other one? Anyway, it's pretty straightforward after this. There's no more major percussion that could damage it and snap it in half. From here on, I'm going to, or what I would do is just sharpen it up. Maybe put some notches. Maybe put a stem if I wanted to make a knife blade, you know, and just work on the overall shape. And do mostly like 90% pressure flaking on it from this point on. But it was good to have the thickness. It's about half as thick as it was before. But I like the heft, especially in the beginning stages. You need a lot of heft to make it easier to do the zigzagging, because you got a lot of mass, and it's easier to run the preliminary flakes across when there's a lot of mass. And then with glass, you can run longer flakes during the thinning stages. And this is a type of glass that seemed to be pretty strong. Yeah. I could probably get it a lot thinner than this with more practice. But my main concern was not having any step fractures. Yeah, there's no major step fractures. There's a little bit of chatter, but it's not much at all. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, it was well behaved. Charles, this glass is well behaved. I like it. And this kind of stuff, I like this kind of stuff for hunting arrow points. Hunting points. The clear glass of good quality. I don't know about knife blades, especially if you're butchering. If you hit the wrong thing, a bone or something, you'll get chips in the meat, and you can't see these chips from this type of material. So I would just use it for hunting critters and stuff, not hunting for meat. Yeah. If you're hunting for meat, I'd rather use something darker so that if there's chips in the meat, you can see the chips and flakes and stuff. Okay. Let me get a photo. That's what I was going to do. Oops, I need to take off my glove. I got a lot of videos to do like this. A lot more challenges coming up. All right, so there you go. That's it.